Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. And here we have some vintage from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Mass. DJ leading out with a Sapphire into Ancestral Recall, uncontested by Justin as he is on a workshop deck. He's not really going to be able to interact on the stack. And DJ getting way out in front here with a Black Lotus as well. Like a Misty Rainforest, plenty of mana, but not much to do with it here. Justin answers back with Ancient Tomb. Workshop has a ton of lands and acceleration. Things like Grim Monolith, Mox Opal, of course the traditional power as well. We see Soul Ring now, resolving into a Lodestone Golem, a card actually restricted in Vintage, though not even played in the best lists currently. Snapcaster in response, flashing back Ancestral, and Lodestone is going to stick. Thought I saw a Lightning Bolt in DJ's hand. I believe we will see this Lodestone Golem cleared out of the way, so Snapcaster can get some beats in. Well, first a Time Walk. Lightning Bolt now taking out that Lodestone Golem. Preordained, DJ digging for hopefully at least a land drop here. You get a land drop out of it. Would have been an unfortunate use of Time Walk to not at least get the extra land drop. The card is extremely good. Almost goes without saying, but there are times where it is actually just essentially a free cantrip, allowing you to just draw a card and untap the two lands that you tapped. Arcbound Ravager now teams up with a bunch of artifacts to potentially make up to a 5/5. But also ship some counters over to the Mishra's Factory. And Justin being challenged by this Snapcaster. Not willing to sacrifice any of these permanents. Grim Monolith, pretty easy to sacrifice from here. The Soul Ring, a little too high a price for him. And now Blood Moon. Blood Moon resolving without any response from Justin. He could have sacrificed his Mishra's Factory to the Ravager if he was so inclined. Another Mountain, thanks to Blood Moon, enters the battlefield for Justin. Blood Moon essentially denying Justin a attacker and 2 additional mana. These Ancient Tombs tapping for a total of 2 instead of 4. So not costing him life at this point might be welcome. Grim Monolith untapping. Perhaps setting up for an explosive turn when he gets the ball back on his side. Will it come to that? DJ looking like he's got some plans here. Now Dak Faden stealing that Grim Monolith. Absolutely brutal. And Monolith tapping for Null Rod. Again, none of those artifacts being sacrificed to the Ravager. Chalice at 1, card that is restricted in Vintage. For you Legacy players not familiar with Vintage, the restricted list is not too long. Almost everything's legal to play, but we do have a short list of restricted cards. Chalice of the Void on there alongside with the original Alpha Power. Handful of other very powerful effects. Now Jace the Mind Sculptor entering. And this is just really unfortunate for Justin. At this point, he's sitting on 4 mana under his own Sphere of Resistance. Null Rod going to prevent any really positive. Actually, that's. What do we get? A hanger back getting bounced by Jace? Pretty sure that hanger back walker should have just been for 1 mana. Or X equals 1. So 1 and 1 is 2. I don't believe what I saw there actually adds up properly. Thanks to his own Sphere. He may be thinking that it's shut off because of Null Rod, kind of shortcutting that in his head. Hangerback Walker gets mana drained here. What will DJ do with this mana? First, he's going to dig with his Planeswalkers and find the best use for it. Nope, he's just going to let that mana go. No interest in using the mana. He is fine just attacking with this Goyf. And Justin sees the writing on the wall there. Next turn would be lethal. And packing it up for game number 2. Workshops have evolved quite a bit over the years. It really is one of the main archetypes in Vintage. There's some differing opinions as to whether or not it should be allowed to persist. It's actually a pretty tough call. Workshops, on its surface, if you're trying to take a look at a reserved and banned list from a philosophical perspective, I think you would go with fast mana, cheap tutors, and efficient card drawing. Those are the things that tend to be the most degenerate. You know, Workshop is a hell of a card, and it has led to many cards getting restricted. Cards like Lodestone Golem feel pretty silly to be on the list. But that is, at this point, the only real option with Workshop as a 4 of. Turn 1 Lodestone Golem, so punishing for the fair decks. I mean, it's good versus decks like Paradoxical Outcome. It's fine. A lot of the time they can actually just play straight through it. But the fair decks, trying to cast cards like Tarmogoyf, Deathrite Shaman, all of that stuff costing an additional mana. The strength of those cards is how undercosted they are. And, you know, paying 4 mana for a Tarmogoyf is absolutely terrible. That's what Shops is really good at doing when it has a bunch of sphere effects. DJ looking to lock out the Shops deck. Shops really hoping to lock out whatever DJ has planned with this Canadian Moon deck of his. There are some new builds of Shops using Karn, the Great Creator, which we'll see in the coming weeks. Very, very explosive, very different. It's actually more of a combo deck. Justin on kind of a typical looking Shops deck. Really a one-upped version of Modern Affinity, if you would. It's got the Mishra's Workshops to really power out everything. But you have Arcbound Ravagers and a bunch of creatures. You are just a beatdown deck. Not too much in the way of combos. Walking Ballista and Arcbound Ravager is kind of a combo. It does give you a bunch of extra reach. But certainly not a combo in the traditional sense of just you get those 2 cards out and you just win on the spot. Oh, and Justin going to 5. This could be very bad for him. DJ looking at that 7 looks even better now, knowing that his opponent's going to be low on resources. Cards like Lightning Bolt go way up in stock when you're trading 1-for-1 against an opponent who starts off a couple cards in the hole. Justin making the call on which 2 to send to the bottom. Likely to stay there for the rest of the game. Not typically a lot of shuffling going on. Ancient Tomb and a proxy, perhaps Ruby. The Sphere of Resistance. That will slow DJ's opener down to just an island and passing the turn. No boxes to come out. An additional Sphere. And things potentially looking okay for Justin if he can get out some more, any type of pressure. Otherwise, he's just going to end up stuck underneath his own spheres. Grip Mine. Passing the turn, allowing DJ a window to cast 1 mana spells here. He can shut that off with the Strip Mine. Four mana into a Phyrexian Revoker. And that's actually getting Force of Willed. One of the least threatening threats in Justin's deck. That gets a counterspell from DJ. 2 cards and 2 mana. Oh, and now passing back. Prismatic Vista. Searching up a basic. And now Blood Moon. DJ with plenty of each color here. Emerald and a forest. 2 basic islands. Any additional non-basics will be red. So likely smooth sailing as far as his mana. He's going to go ahead and repeal that Mox. Justin going to be able to take the turn off and just recast it. Kind of spinning wheels a little bit. And a relatively new card. I have seen it a few times. Not a card that I've personally sleeved up. I believe it does a point of damage to Justin every time he plays a non-creature spell. And he can sacrifice it to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Something along those lines. Let me know what it is in the comments there. But DJ committing to the board. A little bit of disruption here. Walking Ballista coming in. X equals 1. And Ballista will ping DJ in response. Free card has been cleared. Doing its job, taking out that Ballista. Revoker. This one gets mana drained. Revoker would have been a Stone Rain there, naming Mox Emerald in all likelihood. Sapphire, Time Walk. Essentially just a free cantrip there. Now, Treasure Cruise going to allow DJ to reload further. A few mechanics that really blow out this type of board state. The fear of resistance is adding to the cost, but you can get this down to a reasonable casting cost, actually choosing to tap off a bunch of mana. Given the fact that Justin can really only deploy like one threat per turn here underneath his spheres. Really needs some pressure, hopefully prior to the spheres. If you can lead out with a threat and then a sphere and then add on more spheres, that is a lot harder for your opponent to deal with, as you can continually chip away at their life. We've seen so many turns pass back and forth. Even having a 3/3 in play would have done a tremendous amount of damage so far. And now Dak Faden. We'll see what DJ decides to do. He's going to plus. The minus Ballista would be able to sacrifice to kill the Dak, essentially working as a Vindicate on the Walking Ballista. Ballista at Dak. Dak may have to attempt to steal the Walking Ballista here. So we'll be able to pump end of turn and pump again on Justin's turn. It does come to that. And exactly as expected, Dak attempting to steal the Ballista gets shot down for his trouble, and now DJ passing back. Wasteland, effectively another mountain. Now 6 mana, 2 for spheres and 4 being used for a Lodestone Golem. Apparently Justin having some options in hand. And this is going to be Snapcaster into Mana Drain. DJ with so much mana here despite the spheres. 4 colorless. Snapcaster. Going to go Treasure Cruise. Time Walk also a reasonable consideration. Given the beatdown plan. Figuring out what to delve and what to pay with mana. Trying to resolve Treasure Cruise while keeping some things in the graveyard for future Snapcasters. Yet another land drop. And Justin wishing he had that number of permanents in play. Be able to deploy more than one threat per turn here. Last turn was Lodestone Golem. This turn 2, 4, 6, 7 mana for Precursor Golem. A 5 mana threat making full use of his mana, but that one is Force of Willed. Passing back, what will Justin throw at the wall here? If he can get anything to stick, it will likely stand up to these Snapcaster beats, but if he's unable to do it, he's got 2 turns at most to live here. 5 mana. Might be 6. Looks like there might actually be a card underneath. And Traxos. That gets a hard cast force at 7 mana. And from here, it looks like this is all over for Justin. Snapcaster Beats gonna get there. Not exactly what people think of when they think of vintage. But DJ is showing that there is more than one way to play this format. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.